Hello, mathematicians. You are going to begin working on a geometry unit today. This is lesson number 1. In lesson 1, you are going to draw, identify, and name points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles. Doesn't that sound exciting? This is usually one of the first lessons in geometry. When you get into junior high and high school, you'll get into a lot more geometry, especially when you take the class geometry. But for right now, we're going to start with this lesson. And so you need to participate in this with me. So get some paper, get a pencil, and you will probably want to take some notes with me. This is Mrs. Moon over the next few days as we do this unit. So the first thing we're going to do is draw 2 points. A point is a location. And on this screen, I've drawn 2 points, and I'm labeling them point A and point B. In geometry, labeling is super important. So I'm labeling my points A and B. Okay? It's a specific spot. That's point A, that's point B. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a line segment. And I am using the same colors that you see on the screen to help you visually kind of keep track of what we're doing. But I want you to draw a line segment. You don't have to be using color, but you can if you want. Draw a line segment between point A and point B. And don't forget that anytime during the video you can pause it to catch up or go get something that you need. So line segment AB, you see it on the screen. It's a line that is between 2 points. It doesn't keep going, it stops right there. It's called a line segment. And I'm going to label my line segment with the letters A, B, and I'm going to draw a line over the top, and that represents line segment AB. Okay, and later on we're going to have to find more line segments. So remember, a line segment has 2 points, and it's a line in between. Okay, next I'm going to put another point on my paper. I am going to put point C, and I think I'll go ahead and since I have my pen out, it's blue, I'm going to put point D over here. Okay? Then I am going to get my green marker out and I'm going to talk about rays. A ray is somewhat like a line segment, but tell me how it's different. So watch me draw it. How is a ray different than a line segment? You're right. A ray is a line segment that keeps going in one direction. So I started at point A and I went all the way through point C and I could keep going. That looks like kind of funny, right? That ray is going on and on and on. We label a ray with A, C, with a line and an arrow over the top. You'll notice the ray's notation has an arrow over the top to show that it is a ray. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is a line. A line is a line segment, but it's similar to a ray as well. But what do you notice that's different about it as I make it? A line goes in both directions, A to D, but it extends on and on in both directions. And the way that you label a line is with the letters A, D, and I put on the top of it a little line with arrows in both directions, and that is the notation for a line. The last term on this screen is angles. I love angles. Angles are found in shapes, in nature. You could even walk outside, we'll do that another day, and look for angles in the trees. I'm staring out my front window and I see angles in the trees, on the rooftops, on houses. An angle is where 2 lines, segments, or rays meet. So this spot right here is an angle. An angle is measured in degrees. We'll talk about this later, but it's the degree, the number of degrees between these 2 line segments or rays. And so if I draw from C down to A and up to B, that is an angle. And the way that I label an angle is just like I just said it. C, A, B. Because I started at C, I went to A where the vertex is, and I went back up to B to draw the angle. Or you could go backwards and go B, A, C. So you can also label an angle BAC. If you'll notice though, the biggest thing is that the A is in the middle each time because that's where the vertex is. Okay, that spot. There is another angle on this screen. Do you see it? The other angle on this screen, of course, is here. That's another angle. And I would label that one B, A again, D, because the vertex is at A once again. So BAD is that angle. Or for all of you kids that remember how to dab, that's a DAB, my handwriting, DAB. And those are points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles. On the next screen, we're going to practice. So where are the line segments, boys and girls? Okay, I hope you see them. So in pink, I'm underlining line segments so you can remember that was our color for line segments. And if you want to draw a rectangle, you can and label it. I see line segment AB. Now there are a ton of line segments. AD, DC, BC, I would say CD. I usually put them in alphabetical order. So I could draw AB, put a line over it. That's a line segment, or BC. Okay, I'm not going to write them all down. If you're looking for lines, which were in orange on our last screen, there are none. In a shape, there are no places where the line keeps going on and on forever. In fact, there aren't any rays either, because there's no place where the lines of a shape go in one direction and keep going forever. But I bet a lot of you see a lot of points. There are a ton of points, A, B, C, and D. So point A, B, C, D. And then some of you, I didn't put the word angles on my paper, but I'm sure that a lot of you see that the angles on this shape are square. They're square angles. Right angles is another name. I know you called them square corners for a long time, but now that you're older, they're called right angles. So those are the angles, and that is where we find all those. Mathematicians, here are the definitions we've looked at today. If you need to pause the video and look at any of these, you can. Okay, on this picture, I want you to label all the line segments, lines, rays, points, and angles, and go ahead and notate them, which means write them down with labels so that you practice that. I know I said a second ago that shapes don't necessarily have lines or rays, but notice we drew in some arrows on this shape so that you would be able to find at least one of each of the terms we talked about today. Try those, pause the video, and then the answers are in a minute. Okay, did you find all of the same things I did? So I found line segments, and yours don't have to be the same as mine, but I found line segment AD, and there are more. DE is a line segment. If some of yours match mine, BC is a line segment. No pressure, my handwriting's not very good either. What about lines? Do you see any lines? I only see one line. CE is a line. So if I was to label that right here, don't forget lines have to have the arrows on both ends. Do you see any rays? I see a ray right here, AB. I bet you guys saw that one too, AB. And then points. I know points are kind of funny because if it's labeled with a letter, you know it's a point. So all those are points, A, B, C, D, and E. And then angles, that was just for fun today to add that to the lesson. But I see lots of angles. Like I see an angle right here. So that angle is DAE. So angle sine, DAE. There's tons of angles, like tons. BDC. And that's a right angle. So lots of different angles you could have found as well.